Hi, I'm Sasha Segan from PCMag.com, once again in my backyard, here with the Microsoft Surface Duo. The Surface Duo is a unique device. It has two screens. It folds back and forth and in and out and up and down, and it's designed for you to do two things at once on the different screens. It's Microsoft's first Android phone, Microsoft's first phone since 2016, and a truly unique gadget. But it's not perfect, and I don't overwhelmingly recommend it. Let me show you what it does and why, and what doesn't work here. So let's take a look at the initial hardware of the Surface Duo. It's so slim. Now, the Surface Duo comes with this rubberized bumper, which I adhered to it. It's kind of a case. It's sort of a case. It definitely protects it if it goes like this on the table. It's also really nice because if you put it in this table tent mode, it prevents it from slipping around. The Surface Duo has these two 5.6-inch screens, but they're a 5:4 aspect ratio, and that means that there's a lot more square inches per screen than there are on taller, skinnier screens. So it's a lot of real estate here. Together, they're an 8.1-inch 3:2 screen, but of course there's an air gap between them, so it's not really like they're a single screen. The hinge is lovely. It's really gorgeous. It is smooth and stiff. It stays put in pretty much any location. And you see we've got a fingerprint scanner over here. Here's the SIM card slot, power, volume. There's a single USB-C port on the bottom. There is no headphone jack, so you'll need to use USB-C headphones or Bluetooth. Unfortunately, on this Surface Duo, the Bluetooth stack was unstable, so I was having trouble with Bluetooth headphones. That's a problem. If you want to use your Duo as a phone, or you just want to use it one-handed, you fold it all the way back, and then it's basically a very wide one-handed phone. The thing is, it is very wide. It's 3.7 inches wide, so holding this thing up to your head can feel a little awkward. The sound quality, on the other hand, is very good, and although it's a 4G and not a 5G phone, the 4G quality is excellent. It's very fast. I tried it on both the T-Mobile and Verizon networks. That said, it's a real handbuster, 3.7 inches wide. Microsoft has also customized SwiftKey keyboard for the Surface Duo. When you have it open like this in its sort of standard phone mode, it takes up the whole screen. But if you have it open in book mode, the keyboard moves to the side so that you can still reach it with one finger. And if you rotate the phone so it's in this sort of laptop-y mode, the keyboard goes to the bottom half. And then you can kind of type like this is a pseudo laptop, but it's a piece of glass, so it doesn't feel as good or as responsive as a regular keyboard. It's more like the Lenovo Yoga Book, if you've ever seen that. The Surface Duo runs a highly customized version of Android 10, which Microsoft devised in cooperation with Google. And the key is that it works well spanning these two screens. You can see here that the home screen goes across the two screens. The app drawer, on the other hand, appears on only one screen. Now you can also see how the icons are not Google standard. They're a little more square. They're very Microsoft-y. So now the basic Surface Duo experience involves launching one app on one screen and either another app or another instance of the same app on the other screen. And yes, I was surfing to Rent-A-Center for you don't even want to know. You can make an app span the screens too, but it's not the greatest because you've got this air gap between the screens, and that makes things like web pages spanning the screens definitely not look as good as they do on a single big screen, like on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold. Now, some apps are designed to work on both screens in tandem. Like, take a look at my Microsoft OneNote. Now, this is OneNote on one screen, but when I span OneNote across both screens, I get the index to my OneNotes on one screen, and I get my notes on the other screen. And this is the same with Outlook as well. Not very many apps are designed this way yet, but Microsoft has an API out that will hopefully lead to more apps being designed this way. Okay, here's Google Maps on one screen. Here's Google Maps spanned. And of course, you could have a Google Map on this screen and say a OneNote or Edge over here on this screen. Now, another interesting form factor to use this in is what I call the table tent mode. And this should be familiar to anyone who's seen a Windows 2-in-1 laptop. The table tent mode is great for showing videos. You can play Netflix on it this way, and I watched several hours of Netflix in table tent mode. It looked great. Microsoft really wants you to put two apps up on these two screens, so it lets you create these app duos. For instance, if I tap here, it launches YouTube and the Microsoft News app to basically fill your mind with misery. But you can also create more productive app duos, like, say, Outlook and Microsoft Word. So, of course, you probably wonder what this is like to work with. Calling up a web page on one side and calling up OneNote on the other side and typing it in and, typing in that I can, rent a sofa over here and scrolling through over here. And I admit it, it's nice. It's really nice to be able to look at something over here and to take notes on it and do something about it over here. It's a great workflow, and it's something that I hope Microsoft will stick with because it is more like how a PC feels than the more modal experience on most phones. So the biggest problem I have here is the camera experience, and let me show that to you. So there's a single 11 megapixel camera on the inside of this device. You fold it up, you notice there's no exterior camera, and that's the issue. If I power it up and put it in camera mode, it's a front-facing camera. That's, of course, the only kind of camera it can be. It's front-facing. And you notice it has a photo mode. It does software bokeh, not hardware. It, of course, does videos. There's no night mode. That's a big issue. Also, if you try to zoom, for some inexplicable reason, there's no numbers on the zoom. It's just digital zoom, but I would like to know how much I'm zooming. The thing is, if you want to use this as an outward-facing camera, well, first of all, if you have it closed like this, you have to open it all the way like that. And then you have to unlock it. And then you've probably unlocked it in the wrong direction, so you have to flip it over. And then, as you can see, it doesn't always flip over properly. So you can unlock it, launch the camera. The camera's on this side. Then flip it like this. Now the camera's in the right place, but oh no, it's doing something weird with the screen. Okay, now the camera's okay. But that's a really, really awkward user interface for an outward-facing camera, especially when this is supposed to be the camera you have. It also doesn't take particularly good pictures. All in all, the Surface Duo has some really interesting hardware, but the software and the ergonomic experience can be frustrating, so that I have trouble using it, and it's just not as comfortable or productive to use as the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2. Still though, it is a really interesting version 1 of this concept, and I can't wait to see what happens when the software is further refined. This is Sasha Segan from PC Mag with the Surface Duo.